And now it's time to welcome back our traveling correspondent, comedian Tom Papa, in a segment we call Out in America. Are you there, Tom?
I'm here, Chris. That was a beautiful song. It was fun listening to it from inside this parking garage. But I'm ready to go. On behalf of Live From Here, I'm resuming my journey across the country, sharing the good stories of our fellow Americans. This week, I traveled to Buffalo, New York, along Lake Erie, where the sky was cloaked in a constant gray mist, allowing for just occasional peeks at the colorful leaves. The forecast was calling for the first snowfall of the year, but for the good people of Buffalo, that's not even cause to wear a long-sleeve shirt. When you live in Buffalo, complaining about the weather is like complaining about life itself. I was picked up at the airport by a woman named Charlie. She's been driving for 22 years, and her cab was filled with stuffed animals. They lined the dashboard, hung from the rearview mirror, and a monkey was attached to the steering wheel. "These are my co-pilots," she said. "Some people have Jesus, I have these guys." She goes by Charlie because her father was hoping she'd be a boy. I really think the name made me a bit of a tomboy when I was younger. They don't say tomboy anymore. Now everybody is filled with gender fluids. I guess I was ahead of my time. But anyway, I'm all girl now, and everyone still calls me Charlie. After growing up in Buffalo, she went to college down in Arizona because I wanted to go to the hottest place I could find. But it turns out I'm not built for the desert. Seems more like a place for lizards. People who stay there too long start to look like a sponge that was left out in the sun. She came home after school and has been in Buffalo ever since. We have a lot of moisture here, and I love it. I'm like a plant. Water me and I grow. When it's not raining, it's snowing. And when it's not doing either, we can count on the mist from Niagara Falls. Are you here to see the falls? Have you ever lied to your cab driver about seeing Niagara Falls because you didn't want her to know you planned your entire trip around eating buffalo wings? I have. She dropped me off downtown and I went out looking for a bar. If you're looking for a bar or a tavern, Buffalo is a good place to look. They have a lot of them, and last call is 4 a.m. They say that staying open later gives the snowplows time to clear your way home. I entered what looked like one of the older bars in the city, covered in lights and years of sign coasters stuck to the walls. The kind of place where it's always midnight. The kind of place that's so tired that even the ceiling seems to be hunched over at the end of the bar. The bartender was a big bear of a man named Chris. He had a giant beard and big paws, and he growled while he worked. He said that he's been in this bar for 30 years, and that he's been there so long he doesn't even smell their famous buffalo wings anymore. People come in all the time, and they say they smelled them all the way down the street, but I don't smell a thing. Who knows? Maybe it's me they smell. I eagerly placed my order. There's something great about eating a food that makes a city famous. In addition to whatever natural elements are involved, the water, the air, the ingredients, there's also a pride and a love. And as corny as it might sound, the love that people add makes all the difference. Have you ever been away from home for so long that you started professing your love for a plate of deep-fried chicken wings? I have. Chris had a big, heart-filled laugh. His kids are grown, and it's just him and his wife now. The kids all moved away, which means that his grandchildren are too far out of reach for his liking. I don't understand what everybody's after. I mean, sure, moving to another city might get you a little more money, but what you lose from being away from your family is too big of a cost. Everyone complains about their parents until they shell out $20 an hour for a babysitter, and then suddenly we're not so bad. He keeps busy with his bowling league. He said people like to knock bowling, but it's a damn good game, especially when you have your own shoes. He pointed at a wall of bowling trophies behind him that his team had won throughout the years. Their name is Great Balls of Fire. But this year we're a little nervous. We lost one of our guys to a heart attack, and there's a young team called the Kings that's been gunning for us. But we refuse to lose to a team whose name isn't even a little funny. It might be a different story if it was the Lickety Splits. Among the trophies was a faded newspaper article featuring a high school football team. There was a picture of Chris. He was the captain the last year they won the state championship. "This was a different life. It's all just a memory now," he said, "just like this will be one day." Have you ever started to tear up about a bartender's glory years, only to realize it was just your eyes watering from a plate of piping hot buffalo wings? I have. And boy, were they hot. My lips were on fire. Tears were rolling down my cheeks. I wasn't thinking clearly. Have you ever tried to act cool in front of a bunch of locals until one of them pointed out that you were sweating from your bald spot? I have. I stumbled outside to get some air, and the first snowflakes were starting to fall. The first snowfall is like a visit from your family, who you're happy to see before they hang around too long and become difficult. I looked up to the sky as a snowflake landed on my cheek, and I brushed it off. Have you ever forgot that you had wing sauce on your fingers, touched your eye, and had to run into a bar to beg a giant bartender to throw beer in your face? I have. And that's why I'm not a local. But I'll return to Buffalo just as soon as the snow melts and I buy some gloves. Until next time, this has been Tom Papa, out in America.
Thank you, Tom. Look for Tom out on the road. He'll be performing in Kansas City, Missouri at the Truman Theater on November 1st.